we turning into a bit of a cult with rituals?
I'd love to start a cult.
Would you?
Yeah.
What do you like to do that's a bit cultish?
Cycling.
Cycling cult.
Yeah, I'd love to start.
That would be good.
A cycling cult would be dark.
Would be dark. You'd have to go at night. Hello and welcome to Sparks, a podcast by Interactive Workshops. In every episode, we talk about something we can spark in work and life. From how to spark motivation, to how to spark career progression, to how to spark communication, so that your colleagues actually pick up the phone, talk to you, send an update, keep you posted. I mean, how hard is it to use Slack or pick up the phone, Sharon? I mean, come on.
Pick up the phone. Use Slack. Pick up the phone.
These are easy tools.
They're easy.
People are willing to help as well.
Maybe we can spark it.
We can spark that. This week, we're talking about how to spark culture. We'll discuss what culture is, how to build culture, what kind of culture we actually want. We'll cover approaches that we can take in our teams to improve our culture and improve the cultural norms that we have around us, even maybe some of the rituals that can help us lead our teams. And I'm excited to be joined once again by Jonna and Chris.
Hello, Chris. I'm excited to be joined by me as well. But more than that, I'm really excited to be with you. I feel we've got a flourishing relationship. And our times together is full of fun.
I hope so. I mean, if people are sick of listening to me and you, they won't be listening now. So,
well, it's also, it seems we've kind of created a culture together.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a culture here.
I don't know, it's not when you're on your own and I'm on my own, it's not the same.
It's not the same as when we're together.
There's a little something.
Something a spark.
A culture.
Yeah, there we go. And we're going to get into some of that. But firstly, how are you, Jonna?
I'm very well, thank you, Chris. I have had a holiday.
You've had a holiday?
I've been on holiday.
How was that?
It was good. And as a result, I'm hoping you can notice a slight tan.
We'll let the comments determine.
Yeah, in the comments.
Drop that in.
Is it notable, the tan?
Can you see Jonna's tan, or is everything slightly orange anyway?
But it's more important as a slightly balding man, because I think you got a full head of hair that always looks good.
Oh, thank you.
I need the suntan to look good.
Right, you're leaning on the suntan.
Sorry, correct. I need the suntan to look as good as I can look.
Right.
I may not look good, but I need the suntan to look at the best that this thing can be presented. Needs a little bit of.
Well, I think you're looking great. You're looking full of energy, rested.
And I enjoyed exploring other cultures. I went to Brazil and Argentina.
And Wolverhampton.
Yeah, that was the best bit. Actually, really good. That was really good.
Glad to hear it. So let's dive into this. What is culture?
Culture is a phenomena.
A phenomena?
It's a phenomena. And it's an emergent phenomena. So culture doesn't exist without people. So relationships are similar. There's you, there's me, and then there's the thing that happens when we're together. It's a relationship. It's almost like a third thing. And when you add more than just you and me in a relationship, add a third person, there's your relationship with them, theirs with me, mine with you. That's 3 relationships. But also, there's this thing that starts to emerge called culture, especially if we then are in a relationship over a period of time. And obviously the workplace is full of relationships and teams and communities that somehow create a culture. So I see culture as an emergent phenomena from humans being together.
So it's emergent. It comes from all of those relationships.
Yeah, it doesn't really exist as a thing.
Yeah, it's not tangible.
It's tangible. It is tangible.
Is it tangible?
I think so, yeah. When I walk into, I love swipe carding into the offices.
A new organisation.
I love it. Into the offices of the most famous companies in the world.
Yeah.
We get swiping in. We're in Airbus, swipe in BMW, swipe in Savills, swipe in. We're at Barclays or HSBC, swipe, and not just trying to get some money out, but yeah. And then you go into those offices, and then I'll swipe my way in.
Yeah.
And you can walk around. It's like, oh, hang on, this is not like that. This is different. This is unique. Savills, for example, that we work with a lot. Go to Savills in London. Okay, this is an interesting company. They work differently here, but also.
Something in the air.
And then over time, this is quite Savillsy actually. And then you might go to another company and say, oh yeah, there's a bit Savillsy. But then what was weird is then go to Savills in Asia Pacific and go and see Tim and go out there. This is Savills. It's Savills. You walk through, you swipe through, you walk in the office. This is the same culture as there. How's that happen? These people, live here. They're
completely different place.
Yeah, different
Completely
place.
different culture of the country.
The country that they're in has got a different culture.
But the organisation has maintained some of the same culture.
Hello, Savills culture. Yeah, no. So no, I think it's just it's transportable as well. It's communicable. So culture's got some fabulous properties, and I guess a lot of the work we do in leadership development, team building, communication, as you do, that's culture really gets my goat. Doesn't get my goat. Gets my vote.
Gets your vote.
It gets my vote. Yeah,
Bad culture maybe gets your goat.
It can get my goat as well, actually. Yeah, but what do you think? You're a voyager through the world of cultures.
I love culture, and I love the idea of building good culture. And I think it was one of the reasons I joined this company was it had something special about it. There was a special culture. There was something in the air. As you say, walking through the door, you get a feel for the kind of energy. And I think it is quite intangible because you can't really often put your finger on what exactly it was that made you say that had a good culture. But do
you think you can...
has a good culture.
Do you think, so you say good culture, do you think you can say, is there good cultures and bad cultures? Or you think just there is cultures and they're all different?
I want to say there is, because I think we've all been in those places where you can just feel there's a bad culture. We often talk about football and football clubs. You can tell when a culture of a football club has gone a bit toxic. You know, they don't like the manager, they don't like the board or the ownership. And there's suddenly a toxic feeling, something in the air feels not right, awkward,
so there can
uncomfortable.
I'm reminded of what my PE teacher used to say to me. I did a PE GCSE, so I'm quite qualified in it.
There you go.
But
he used to
say, when someone asks you, are you fit? You should say, fit for what? Yeah? I like that kind of thinking. But from a PE teacher, that's quite good. Not to stereotype PE teachers, but that was quite clever. But so that's the point. Are you fit? Well, I'm fit for tennis, but I'm not fit for cycling. And I think it's the same with culture. What's culture? Is it good? Good for what? If you want a culture to make some people leave, then your good culture. It might be very
won't
helpful.
be good enough.
You don't want a great culture. Then you want a culture that's good to make people leave. But if you want a culture that makes people stay or work hard or be happy, but I don't know.
Is it something you've invested in building a good culture, or has it happened as a bit of a byproduct of good people, good working practice? Is it something you think about?
Well, I use the model that it is 4 elements for culture: stories, language, ritual, and icons.
Tell me more about those.
Stories, language, ritual. Let's start with icons. Like icons is so our podcast culture, we have these microphones. We probably don't need them.
No, but we could have something on our...
Yeah, we could have a lapel mic. But this is an icon. This says, we're a
podcasters.
Yeah, we are. Let's not forget that.
We're podcasters.
Look at us. It's not a podcast because it's not just audio.
Vodcast.
Oh, it's a vodcast.
If you're listening on Spotify right now or Apple, just turn the phone round. Suddenly, video.
Vodcasters. So that's icons, language. Language is part of what builds a culture. If we decide that we're vodcasters, these are no longer microphones. It's a combination of our microphones and our cameras. But when we start to develop language, that informs how we can think. It's notable that there are some cultures that have more words for different colours. So we're used to red, orange, green, blue, indigo, violet, and you did graphic design. So if you keep going, I mean, there's a lot of colours, right?
Yeah. Go into the world of Crayola.
Yeah. But if you've got a smaller set of language of words for different colours in your culture, you actually can't see any differentiation. So let's say there's the scale of spectrum that we see as blue, and another country has 2 different words for those 2 ends of the spectrum. They see 2 different colours. We look at it and say blue. We can't see anything other than blue. So language informs what you can think, what you can see. I guess my cognitive science background's coming there. So the language that you use also is a driver culture.
Yeah.
Icons.
Language. Rituals. Are we turning into a bit of a cult with rituals?
I'd love to start a cult.
Would you?
Yeah.
What would you call your cult?
I don't know, Chris.
What do you like to do that's a bit cultish?
Cycling.
A cycling cult.
Yeah, I'd love to start.
That would be good.
A cycling cult would be dark.
Would be dark.
There actually are cycling subcultures. There's some people who do a lot of indoor training, and it's called Zwift.
Right.
I don't know if you know about Zwift.
Yeah, I know about Zwift. But
that's a whole subculture. It's his own niche. Oh yeah, let's go inside. Let's put on our towels around our neck. Let's put our bikes on our turbo trainers. Let's join our. I guess gaming's similar, isn't it? But yeah, the cults use a lot of the levers of culture that leaders can use, and then stories. And I guess I would say that there's the overall narrative that we're telling ourselves about our life, and then there's the smaller narratives of each day or each episode or where the phase we're in. But the stories we tell ourselves are really big drivers of culture. So, for example, if we tell you, oh yeah, let me tell you about Brian or Beatrice. She was the best performing salesperson here. She hit her target every month. Some of the clients we work with say, oh yeah, we know if people don't hit their targets, we know people have been fired immediately. It's like, yeah, but of course you do. But there must also be people who didn't hit their targets that aren't fired. But those stories don't get told. So the only ones that get told, there's no stories there. Let me tell you about Chris. He's a man who didn't hit his target and didn't get fired.
That's a cool story.
There's no story there.
No story.
But let me tell you about Chris. 1 month he didn't hit his target. He was immediately fired.
Whoa.
Which story do you think?
Yeah, one's going to spread like wildfire, isn't it?
Yeah. But then there's a cultural impact. What do you think the cultural impact will be if that story gets out, that Chris missed his target and immediately got fired?
There's a negative perception, isn't there, that you don't hit your targets, you're going to get
fired. Do
not
not miss your target. Yeah. So
which might not be true at all.
So that drives behaviour, and then that drives the conversation, it drives the language. So so I think that the stories, the language, the rituals, and icons, that's how I think about it. And then the next question is, can I make a lever? Are there levers of culture?
Okay. What are the levers of culture?
What levers do you use? I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. If you're trying to shape culture.
I think fun is a big part of culture. I think culture is more than just having fun and doing socials and having a good time, enjoying work. But I think fun is one of those levers that if you can make work fun, if you can make work play, then that is a lever that I like to pull.
You try to use playfulness.
Yeah, playfulness.
And humour.
Humour to keep things engaging, keep things dynamic. Yeah,
to make keep it sparking.
Keep it sparking.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. There's a lever. How can I make this enjoyable?
Yeah.
If I can make things enjoyable. If I develop a culture where I set out to make things enjoyable, fun, engaging, interesting, then people will what?
Enjoy work and therefore contribute in a better way, in a way that's more themselves.
Yeah. So you're trying to break, so it's helping you overcome formality
and
turgidness and
that
despair.
Kind of maybe forced professionalism that actually can hold people back.
So if every day, I find working with you really fun, but I'm now realising that that's not unintentional from you.
No, it's intentional. And we've just run an assessment day and that hiring process even, we try and make fun because we want people to get something valuable from it and enjoy it. A lot of hiring processes, and some of the candidates say this, that they're very formal, they're someone reading from a script, they're not fun, they're not designed to be fun. But we have a different approach.
Yeah, and then afterwards, we also had a ritual, didn't we? So we offered someone a job.
Yeah.
And then
we went over to our bar.
We went
and had a drink.
We celebrated it.
We celebrated it.
This person has just accepted a job, and everyone came out and clapped.
Yeah.
How do you think when they go home to their family or their partner and say, I've just been offered a job and I've accepted it.
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to say about whether it's a good place to work or not?
They're going to say hopefully they're going to say it's a great place to work.
Yeah.
Because they opened a bottle of Prosecco as soon as I accepted.
This reminds me actually of one of the greatest shapers of culture. I know a lady called Mary that is a friend of the show. But she was trying to improve her team culture, and they just created a ritual that at the end of each week they celebrated one person, and they gathered behind their desk, I think with some champagne or something, and just said, we really value you. Not necessarily what you've done, but maybe what you've done as well. But that was a way of creating like a celebratory culture. But so you're trying to create a fun culture.
Do you think that success is important? Is that one of the levers? Celebrating success, is that a lever we should be pulling in terms of our culture?
We could pull that more here. Yeah, but it's a silly thing, isn't it? But all businesses need to generate a culture that creates success because we have to be profitable. We have to achieve our goals. So we want to create a successful culture. And I guess that's why often organizations look at high performing teams and look at sports teams and think about that. But I'm also really interested in other cultural setups like families and communities and how they work. Often there's a matriarch or a patriarch. I'm got to be careful what I say. In my extended family, in my family, it's often me that drives decisions because I'm a very big personality. But in my wife's family, her mum's a big driver of decisions, and she's a brilliant leader. But there's often a dominant figure in the family. Who's the dominant figure in your extended family?
Probably my 1-year-old.
Yeah,
she tells us all what to do.
They know. She
calls the shots.
Know how to shape
She
culture.
just says no.
Yeah.
No. You here.
Kids know it.
Yeah.
Kids are born. They must be born knowing how to shape it. They just make a noise, don't they?
Yeah.
And somehow we learn to grow up and not make the noises that we want of the things we want. I was going to ask you as well, though. That's not a question. What's the culture that you have if you don't make any effort? Yeah, that's like passive culture. So I make an effort every day. If I didn't do that, what's the culture we'd have here? Versus if every day I made an effort to have the culture that I would like, an intentional action towards that culture. I think the more people that take that approach, the better your culture gets. If everybody wakes up and goes, how can I contribute to the culture of our team today? What is it I actually want to happen here? Do I want to get to know these people? Do I want to like them? Do I want to help them? Do I want them to grow? Do I want to invest in them? Do I want to extend myself to connect with them? Do I want to do that in service of our company goals? If I'm intentional about that and come to work every day thinking, how can I do that? What can I do today? Then I think once you have enough people that are like that, you can sustain a really positive culture.
How much of your headspace does that take up? When you come in on a Monday, come in on any given day, how much are you really consciously thinking about culture?
At least 50%.
At least 50%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably more.
More than half of your headspace is thinking about culture
I would say
on
so,
any given day.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What kind of things are you thinking about?
Is the office tidy? All that shows, it shows whether people take responsibility for their actions, and it shows if the cleaners come.
So it's more than about mugs on the side.
It's an indicator of culture. Do you live in an office where when you've finished with something, you put it A, on the worktop, or B, open in the dishwasher? There's 6 inches of difference.
It's funny how often that sinks in. It doesn't get.
How hard is that?
It doesn't get the movement. It doesn't make that journey.
Yeah. So I'm things like we go to a meeting. We had a meeting on Monday. We had 2 new people at that meeting. Sit down. Does the person, when you're running it, does the person welcome everybody, especially the new people, and say, welcome to our company. This is your first time at this meeting. This is how it runs. We're all really glad to know you. Don't worry. Or do they just sit down and start the meeting? And I'm looking at those. I'm looking in the details.
One of our interns also gave a presentation, and I noticed you managed the environment, built a bit of a culture by giving him a bit of an introduction. He was about to launch into his presentation, and you gave a little bit of an intro and set a bit of a culture.
I love it. Our intern did a presentation on the causes of terrorism to our whole team.
A light topic.
But yeah, it's a small thing. Did I actually? I don't know if you were there in the morning. Who's actually going to be able to go to Toby's presentation? Can you put your hand up if you're going to be? Because I know in his mind, he's prepared to be there. And I know that people are busy. So please tell me who's going to be there. And 3 or 4 people said, yeah, great, we'll be there. And then because of that, everyone else said, okay, we could be there. So we got everyone there. But yeah, no, I wanted to create an energy there. And so I made sure it was really well set up. And
how do you do that? How do you create that culture?
It's very simple. It's all very simple. It's all silly stuff, isn't it? It's that intentionality and also the meta observation of what's happening. So can you step back and see, or question, what do you see when you step back? When you step back, do you see what's happening? So the meeting I went to, for example, I then spoke to the person and said, what did you think of that meeting? I thought it wasn't the best bit. It was really good. It was all right. Yeah. It's like, okay, what of the a million things that happen, which points are they actually looking at? Which points are they thinking about? What are they focused on? yeah. I mean, as a facilitator, when you're running workshops, you have to be really switched on to that because you've got a short amount of time to create a culture, a couple of days, a couple of hours, maybe a couple of weeks. And if you don't get it right on day one, then all week your culture doesn't work for your program. So I guess I'm kind of tuned on a bit of a short cycle and maybe not thinking about cultures over years. I'm thinking about over minutes.
And you're thinking a lot about the feeling and emotions and maybe even the user journey, to borrow a web development term, of people as they arrive, as they prepare, as they go about their day. Yeah.
I remember actually we had another couple of work experience people that came in the front door of the office on their like third day after lunch, and I said to them, oh, you know, just because you're getting work experience, I want you to be professional. So when professional people enter their office, they do it with a professional body language. They come in and go, good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Yeah, we've just been out for lunch. Really great lunch. How's things going here, everyone? But they do it with an open body language. And
so you prepared them to come into the office. You sent them out again?
I sent them out again. Yeah, I said, look, you know, you're on work experience. You may as well try and learn it. Not everyone here even's got that. But go away, go around the corner, think about what will be good for everyone else when you come back from lunch. Can you bring some energy from your lunch? Can you lift everybody? Can you present professionalism? And that's what they did. They went out, they came back, and went, hi everyone, we're back from lunch. They didn't sneak in and go and sit back down at the desks. Yeah, so I think the body language, the physiology has a big driver on the energy.
And in all the companies you've taken that swipe card and entered into, where have you seen good culture or effective culture?
Effective culture. My question is it a culture that drives the performance of that organisation? So culture is also free, right? So if I want you to do something, I can pay you money and more money, but culture's free. So culture is a very, very valuable investment because if you invest into it properly and then it becomes self-sustaining, it's free. So I've worked in some companies that got really high standards and do things really well, like BMW Group, Airbus. At Airbus, when they finish making a plane, it's going to fly really well. Yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
They have also weirdly invested so much in leadership development over so long that unlike many other engineering companies that I work in, they have a really lovely culture. I don't know if it's a bit of the Frenchness or something. Very humble leaders, very approachable people. People are open-minded, they're agile, they're flexible, they're creative. Not all of them, of course, but there is something unusual in that organisation that I think they've invested so much in high-quality leadership development. So that's effective. BMW Group is very effective, performance and process. If you've got those two things can work. Being very, very efficient. I mean, German company, that's not stereotype. They're a global company, but working there, everything had a process. The process had a measure. The process was effective. There was a focus on performance. As a result, everyone could be empowered because, do you know what? Even if you're new, here's the process. This is the standard. That's the measure. You need to be high performing. Go do it. Here's a credit card. You can spend as much money as you need on that. That's when I started at 21. You can spend, there's no limit to what you can spend because we're empowering you to go and do your job. I spent £2 million doing my job.
Did you?
Yeah. There was some budget controls, but
it was just higher than 2 million.
No. The empowerment culture there was really good. There was a process, so I couldn't completely spend it all. But the point was, they had a process.
Yeah,
and I think from having factories, they were good at engineering things to be well organised. So, but I also like the culture there. I think they didn't matter how old you were. If you were good enough, they could let you get on with it.
What about the less effective cultures? If we find ourselves in a team or an organisation where we feel like the culture isn't good or isn't effective, isn't right, can we actually do anything to change it, or is that up to a leadership team or leader?
Just go run a survey, get your senior leaders in a room, talk about all the problems, and that'll solve it.
That's all you need.
You just do a survey.
Employee engagement survey.
Go into a room as a senior leadership team to go through the results. Make sure you leave it a few months.
After the survey, yeah. So
Come up with...
It's not timely.
So talk about all the results in detail.
Yep.
Make a plan. Yeah. Revise the plan. Make sure that it goes until the next survey. Don't do anything. Yeah, I guess, all joking aside, really valuable employees are people who can shape culture. And if you want to shape culture, coming back to coming in each day and thinking, can I What can I do? If you do that for enough days in a row, eventually you'll work out how to shape the culture in your organisation. And if you do that in enough organisations, you'll work out what works in general. But I do think that you become a very, very valuable employee if you can shape culture.
Yeah, I was going to say, those people seem to me like the most valuable. Of course, you've got to do your job well, but if you are switched on to how people are feeling, how you enter into the office, it's not just confidence, but if you can start to shape that through some of the rituals you start, some of the language you use, on those kind of things that you described, suddenly you're invaluable to the company and to the team.
But you'll be doing a brilliant job. And also, it's not an extroverted thing. It doesn't have to be big people, leaders. It can be. I was just thinking what I've done today. Yesterday, I was the first one here. I hoovered before everyone else got here.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, you got the Hoover out.
I thought, why isn't the cleaner not being? And then I realised
there are about 20 people here, but you were the one doing the Hoover.
I like hoovering. I had a job once as a cleaner, so I know how to do it. But there was a bit of stuff on the floor to hoovered, but today a lot of taking out the recycling. But I believe that kind of sort of example, and I want a culture where everything's tidy, so I'm going to lead that.
And that shapes culture.
It shapes
you doing
the culture.
The vacuuming.
But there are a lot of people in this organisation and others that do that kind of thing that no one really notices. They wash up, they clear up, they take the minutes at meetings, and then make sure that they're circulated. Those kind of things really valuable.
I'm just realising you actually inspired me to then do something that was...
Did you tidy up?
Yeah, there was... Both dishwashers were on in our office. And so we got to the point where we were putting things in the sink. Yeah. Because both dishwashers were full.
Did you wash up?
Well, I emptied the dishwasher. I realised I should go. I should get my train. But that's just leaving that job of the sink to someone else.
You're a very noble person.
But it was inspired by your vacuuming. I don't think if I hadn't seen you do that.
Did you see that?
I think I'm only just realising that now. I think you inspired that little bit of going the extra effort, extra mile.
So on another angle is having standards. And this, I hate doing this as a CEO. It's not really my favourite thing. I'm very much a people pleaser, and I like to keep things sweet. But what I've realised also, another big ticket item is standards. And I a lot of time tell people things are not good enough, even though I don't really want to. I don't like doing it. No one likes to be told that. No one likes that. So, but I believe that the CEO's job and all leaders' job is to push for the highest possible standards that are appropriate. And that in most cases, the highest standard is also the simplest standard. How not quite good, if I'm going to have, it's got to be excellent, that's easy to attain. Everyone can understand that. If I have a standard below excellent, that's okay. When's that appropriate? How hard should I push to get that?
How good is good? How do you quantify when it's good enough?
So I just think do a few things and do them really well is best. Just push for excellence. Unfortunately, what that means is you have to also say to people, unfortunately, that's not the standard. This needs to be better. You can use all kinds of cool coaching approaches and everything else to do it. You can also lay out standards in advance. How good does it have to be? Have we hit it? There's lots of things you can do, but standards, again, new joiner, day one, are they on time? If not, tell them straight away, you need to be on time every day here, because if you don't do it to start with, it just becomes a pattern. It's really hard to break. So
those are the things that are shaping culture.
Yeah, and making sure that if you do that, other people then replicate it, and the collective drive is there to get to a higher standard, which takes extra effort. But I just the reverse, where you accept a lesser standard, I think it's a really false economy, because it becomes very chaotic.
We've talked about how that one person can make a difference, become valuable. Can that one person shape culture by themselves?
Yeah, but it's like a bird builds a nest. That little bird. I watched a really good YouTube today, actually, which is a time lapse for Bird Box.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like an above cam from the bird box, and it's the bird building the nest with a stick. Yeah, and then another stick, and then builds it, then some moss, then it lays the eggs, then the chicks come, and it keeps feeding them, and then they all fly off.
Wow.
But this culture is built like a bird builds its nest, one stick at a time. So if you want to shape culture, also don't expect fast results. You can try and do a culture change, sure, but culture is what happens every day, what you do stick by stick. If you want to shape culture, do things consistently, and the small things consistently, and it will have an impact. If you can get other friends to help, that will be good as well. So telling people what you're doing and kind of enrolling them, coming back to our cults, if you can enroll them as activists, coming back to our terrorists, one man's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter. But if you can enroll enough people in your freedom fighting, then you can change the world.
Well, wouldn't we all like to do that?
Surely that has to be the end of the podcast. That's quite profound.
I think so. Tell us first, Jonna, how are we helping organisations with that culture change?
Well, we work with leaders a lot. We work on communication a lot. But I think the main way that we help teams with organisations with culture is through working with leaders, helping them think about the kind of teams that they want to run. What's the kind of team that they want to wake up in the morning and go in to be part of? And then working back from that. So if that's the team you want, what can you do to shape that? And as we've talked about stories, language, rituals, icons, those are not the only levers or the only elements of culture, but what are the things you can do? The power of intentionality, that waking up in the morning thinking, how am I going to go into work and really make a difference? The other part actually is stepping back that I mentioned. So we help leaders and teams and organizations step back and try and see what's going on. And I think it's really difficult when you've been in an organization a long time. You take a lot of things for granted. You become conditioned, maybe even institutionalized, and you think that is the way that it is. And we help them step back and say, well, that is the way it is today. But what do you want tomorrow? Where do you want to go with your culture? And I was with a sporting organisation a few months ago, and we're having exactly that. Their organisation under pressure. I was away with the senior leadership team and the CEO, and they're all there. So what will make you happy and excited to come to work in the morning? What kind of culture do you want? And we spent 2 whole days working on how do we then build an organisation that's delivering results, but also feels great for us to be there. So yeah, we work with loads of different ways, but those are some of the ways we work.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jonna. And thanks for joining us for this episode. We're going to wrap up the podcast here. Join us next time, and do click below to like the episode or leave us a review. We'd love that.
Chris, you're sounding like my 11 and 13. Are you saying subscribe?
Subscribe, like. You may even
comment.
Want to smash the like button.
If anything I said you disagree with, we want to know. So pop it in the comments. Equally, if anything we've said together is good or you've got some good stories, share it with us, because we're going to go through those comments and we're going to reply to them.
We will look and reply to them all. And if you want to collaborate with us to shape your culture, maybe that's
I've also worked out how you get likes. What the top people do, Chris,
what
is
do
they
do?
Say, if we get 10,000 likes, we will. So I'm going to say this on this podcast. If we get 3 likes.
Ambitious.
I'll buy you a box of cereal, Chris.
Oh, that would be lovely.
But if we get 10 likes.
We'll flaunt that on the episode. 10
likes, we will. What would we do for 10 likes? Thogson gives away Mars bars.
We could give away some Mars bars.
We're going to give away some Mars bars. If we get 10 likes, we'll take a box of Mars bars to a homeless charity.
There we go. You heard it here first. Thank you, Jonna. Thank you for joining me on this episode.
Let's create our own culture.
There we go. Create your own culture. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video by Interactive Workshops. Give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Click through to here or here to watch another video by Interactive Workshops.